Today's challenge is a 2011 Subaru 4th generation Outback H6. That's 3.5 liter. And I'm doing the Serpentine belt, idler pulley, and tensioner. Starting with the tensioner because you've got to detension the tensioner to get the belt off. And FYI, it's set up so that if you turn it left, it actually unscrews the bolt that holds the pulley on. If you push it to the right, which would be tightening the bolt, it detensions the belt so you can remove it. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, going to be changing out the Serpentine belt, the idler pulley, and the tensioner, which is down there, on this 2011 180,000 mile Subaru Outback. H6, by the way. So the first thing we're going to want to do is get some stuff out of the way. I'm going to take off as little as possible. I'm going to take off this this air snorkel because it is kind of in the way and it's dead easy. It's 2 clips here and it just lifts out immediately. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is pop out this panel here, this snorkel, to get it out of the way. Pop up the center section of the clip, pull it out. And then the whole thing just lifts out of the way and can move it. And you have to think about it in advance, but I think it's going to be easier to pull the belt off of this smooth pulley. There's really no lip on it. I could pull it off the alternator pulley, but there is a lip on that, so it might make it a little more difficult. So again, I put on my 14mm wrench, push it clockwise, and I can slide it right off the big pulley there, and I'm now detensioned and ready to go. The other thing I'm going to say is take a photo, pay attention to how the belt runs so you can get it back on without having to think about it. I've been fooled by that several times where I had to actually go look it up in the middle of a job, and nobody wants to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to take the belt the rest of the way off. And that's all there is to that. Now I'm going to remove the idler pulley. It's probably going to be a little bit in the way, so again I'm going to multiply my torque because I'm lazy. Okay, that was really tight. And don't lose the washer, you'll need it. So now we got this one out of the way, and it's not really that bad. It was definitely squealing and squeaking, but I think it was more the tensioner pulley. But if you're doing one of them, the other one's right on the way out. It's a little more expensive to replace the whole unit. You can press out the bearing and press in a new one, but I don't carry my press with me, so we're going to go with new. And one of the tricks us lazy mechanics use when trying to figure out how something is held in, you got the new part in your hand, so why not use that? So I'm going to lay it in here kind of in the same alignment that the tensioner goes in. You can see there are 2 bolts. They're going to hold it on. And if you look, there's that one, and the other one's a little harder to see. In fact, I don't think I can get an eyeball on it, but it's back there behind the tensioner, kind of at the same level that one is. So clearly I'm going to have to use an extension and a socket. Okay, a couple things. Number one, we can listen to that pulley, and it does not sound too good. Trust me, it sounded pretty bad in place running on the engine. Number two, always do the hard bolt first. Now you could tell there was a bolt down in there. It's invisible. I got on it with this. It's a 12mm socket. So I'm going to do the bottom one, because if I take off the easy one up on top, the bottom is just going to be that much tighter and that much more difficult. So I'll take it off, then I'll come back up and do the top one. Okay, so I'm on the bottom bolt. I'm going to try to hold it on nice and square around this hose and crank it loose. All right, popped off nicely. Yeah, it's just a matter of getting it turned out. Okay, remove the old tensioner with both bolts intact. Okay, trick is put the bolts into the new tensioner, walk it into place, and align the top bolt with the top hole. You can see it. It's not real easy to see, especially in this light that I've not got out here. But it's not, shouldn't be too difficult. Just really make sure you get it lined up. Okay, turn that one down to just about snug, maybe even back it off 1/8 of a turn. And now you should be able to rotate it as much as you need to get the second bolt in. Okay, and hopefully the second bolt has not gone through deep enough to block the access. Okay, so okay, folks, here's the difficulty getting that one lined up. So it's going to be interesting. The top one, like I said, is a little bit loose, so I should be able to wiggle that in there. The trick is you could use a screwdriver to get it centered, but I would suggest getting it lined up before putting the bolt in. And now I should be able to slide it in from outside and go straight into the hole. That's the theory. Okay, just a matter of wiggling it around, pushing on the bolt, feeling for it engaging the hole, and then hopefully getting the socket on it without knocking it out of alignment and turning it into the threads. All right, once that's on, always turn your ratchet to the right position first. Once that's on, just snug it up. And there is a torque setting for this. If I had a torque wrench, I would set that. But I don't, so I'm going to use the German spec of Gutentite. Right. And that one's in place. Okay, tensioner's good. Now I'm going to put the other idler pulley into place. Okay, the new pulley looks a little different than the old pulley. You can see it's just totally different design. The end result is the same, though. It's as much as it probably doesn't look like it, it's pretty much symmetrical. This one I did check. It does center up nicely when it's on there. The old pulley used this peculiar looking washer on the bearing. So I'm going to use it on the new one as well. I don't really know if it's necessary, but it does contact only the inner race. So that's the important thing. It won't grab anything else. Don't put it on backwards, or you're going to have a big problem because it's just going to melt when you start your engine. So put it on like this. Put on the bolt and screw it into place. Okay. Insert this pulley, being careful to keep it straight, make sure it's fully seated. Tighten down the bolt, and when it's snug, finish it off with a 14mm wrench or socket. And make sure it still spins freely and that it's lined up with the other pulleys, which you can see the new pulleys are all perfectly in line with the old ones. So now it's time to put the belt on. Okay, I've got it in the basic configuration it needs to be in. I'm going to take it off the alternator pulley temporarily, because that's be hard to work around it with it in place. Get everything else lined up. Put my 14mm wrench on the tensioner pulley. Add my torque multiplier, and then detension it this way. And once it's just about all the way over, slide it onto the alternator pulley. Alternatively, I might be better off sliding it off of this smooth pulley, because it's easier to get the belt on the smooth pulley. Get it around the alternator pulley, and then replace it up here. Okay. And get that pushed on. Touch it up over here. And there it is, folks. It's on. Okay, and let's see if it much better, much quieter. And it should be that way for a good long while. So, job well done. Shiny new pulleys.